no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
You've heard of doom scrolling. Have you ever heard of Doommaxxing? Well, it seems America is excelling at it. We're going to talk about that, the reflecting pool as a euphemism for the Trump presidency, and so much more on today's show. So don't go anywhere on this Tuesday, June 23rd. Hello and good morning to you all on this Tuesday, June 23rd. I am Karel, and it is the Karel Show. So very glad you are here. I am queer. Are you used to it? We've got a lot to talk about today, including how the reflecting pool has become a symbol of Trump's crumbling presidency. And it really has. Even the New York Times has run an editorial about how this is really a symbol of where we are in the country, as he blames vandals. He is so stupid. There is video of the reflecting pool. If there were vandals, we'd have them on video. There aren't. We don't. It was a shoddy job. He pocketed the $14 million, obviously, and gave the person that did it probably $100,000, and they did shoddy work. And then he filled it with the very swamp water that he bathes in there in Washington, D.C., as he is the biggest swamp monster around. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a great editorial I read about Doommaxxing. Doommaxxing, it's like looks maxing, but Doommaxxing, and how companies like Meta and others are making a fortune off of keeping you in the doom and gloom sort of mode, and podcasters and everything. We're also going to talk about the money of entertainment, if you're not Taylor Swift or Don Lemon or Joe Rogan. I think it will shock you. I think those figures will shock you. So we've got a lot to talk about today. On a personal note, I'm not thinking about any of that crap today. I'm an honest talk show host. I don't come out here like David Pakman will come out and talk to you about Trump and whatever. And yeah, he's worth $1 to $5 million a year, according to ChatGPT. It told me that David Pakman makes between $1 and $3 million a year. And so maybe his formula of I'm going to talk right into the camera, I'm going to show you videos of Donald Trump, and then we're going to talk about him and occasionally have a guest. Maybe that works, and maybe that's why I'm not working, because I don't do that. I can't show videos of Donald Trump. They make me sick. So, but he makes $1 to $3 million a year. So he's not hurting. And he's not living my life. And I almost think that I'm a little more relatable nowadays because I'm not a millionaire. Because I could have gone to the Grammy Diversity Pride Party this afternoon at the Astor in Hollywood and been on a panel. Exactly what I've been asking for. Put me on a panel. Get me in front of these Grammy people. And they offered. But I couldn't go because I wasn't going to spend $500 just to go to L.A. for one night. And they weren't paying their speakers. So there we have that. Then this morning I get a call about my car. My car, which blew up on Sunday. Well, in order to figure out what is wrong with it, they first have to replace the radiator. That's $650. Then, after they replace the radiator, they can tell me if the block is cracked or the head gaskets are blown or if the engine's even salvageable or if this blowing up of the radiator also overheated other parts of the engine and blew it out. So they're telling me I have to spend $650 to maybe find out that the car isn't worth fixing. So I've been in a dilemma all morning of what to do. What do? Do I fix it? Do I get the radiator fixed and then see if it's able to be fixed? And it would be more money. The $650 is just for the radiator. Then if there's a problem with the fan or the engine or whatever, or do I just say goodbye to the car? I already spent $2,600 on it 2 months ago, haven't even paid that credit card off. And now there's this. And it's a 25-year-old, 200,000 plus Lexus. My friend Jen has an Infiniti, a 2007 Infiniti with 105,000 miles that she'll sell me for $3,000. Am I just buying another, junker, basically, even though it's running good right now? So that's what's on my mind. On my mind, it's like, I don't even want a car. I don't want a car. I don't. I want to live in a place where I don't need a car, where a car is not a necessity, like New York or Paris or London, or, I don't want a car. I like my motorcycle, and other than that, I think cars are stupid. They're costly. They run on fossil fuels. They hurt the environment. Insurance is a mess in terms of, the price of insurance, maintenance, and all of that. I don't really want a car, but I feel naked without one. So that's what's on my mind today. We all have those kinds of decisions in our lives, and that's what we think about. We'd like to think about Trump all day, but we can't. We have real life to deal with. I think the news forgets
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
I really do think the news forgets that we don't sit around all day and think about what they think about. MS Now. I do not sit around all day and just ponder the same issues about Donald Trump and the government. And, this morning in the New York Times, there's an open letter from Elizabeth Warren about how in 6 years, they're going to have to cut Social Security benefits 25% unless Congress does something. And she has a plan, and she wants to introduce it as a bipartisan plan to help rescue and save Social Security, which would start with removing the income cap. So people like Elon Musk would pay Social Security taxes on all of his income, not just the first, 100,000 or whatever it is. We're so much more as a culture and a people than what Trump has painted us out to be. And we think about so much more than what his maggots would make you believe. I don't sit around all day wondering where trans people should pee. I know you don't either. I don't sit around all day mad at a rainbow flag. I just don't even give it a second thought. I don't sit around all day doom scrolling so I can put snide and hurtful comments under people's things that don't agree with me or that I don't like because they're different than me. I don't spend the day doing that. And I don't think you do either. I spend the day worrying about the real world. There was a report that Steve sent me yesterday that said by 2028, the water in the 7 states reliant on the Colorado River will be at a critical mass where the system is going to collapse. Collapse. The Colorado River is running out of water. Lake Mead is at 29%. No one is doing anything. So in just 2 years, the system is going to collapse. What's anybody do? That I worry about that. I worry about where should I move? Because obviously Las Vegas is not the place to stay. So where should I move? If I move to California, they get water from the Colorado River. They're going to have problems. Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, the West. So the West is toast. Climate change is making it heat up and water is running out. So Vancouver, Richmond, which is just south of Vancouver, where do I go? I think about that every day. I sure do. Every day I think about where am I going to move and how am I going to do it on such a limited income. I think about that. Should I leave the country? I think about that every day. What do you guys think about every day other than Donald Trump? I'm so curious. If we were on KFI or KGO, the lines would fill up right now. What do you guys, what are your priorities right now? What do you think about? I know it's not Donald Trump all day I don't even fucking care about Iran anymore. I don't care. He lies. They lie, 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 lie. Today he said Tehran has totally said that we're going to do the nuclear talks and all that. Tehran's like, no, we didn't. He just lies. If his mouth is moving, there's vandals at the reflecting pond. No, you're the vandal of the reflecting pond. You're the one that the National Guard should arrest. You destroyed the east wing of the White House, a national monument, and the reflecting pool. You have now destroyed 2 national monuments. You should be put in jail for that alone. Donald Trump should go to jail for tearing down the east wing of the White House without congressional approval or anything, and for destroying the reflecting pool. It was fine. But no. He should go to jail for these things. So I do not sit around and think about them all day. I could care less about the reflecting pool. I've never been to Washington, D.C. And at the price of things now, I'll probably never go. Which most people can't believe that I have never been to Washington, D.C. But I never have. Never been. Never seen the White House. Never. I told Gavin Newsom if he wins, I have to go. He has to invite me as a guest because I've never been. And he said he would, by the way. I've never seen the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial. I know what's printed on them. I can recite the words. Never been. So I could give a crap about the reflecting pool. You know, they could use a pool in Paris. 40 people drowned. 40 people in France drowned yesterday. 40. That's like the beginning of a bad horror movie. 40 people drowned. Why? Because it was 104 degrees. And these poor Parisians who are not used, I guess, to swimming or getting into water, you know, they got in to cool off and they drowned. 40. Not 1, not 2, not 5. 40. I don't think 40 people a day drown in the United States. I don't know how many people drown a day in the United States. I really don't. You know who probably knows? ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT. How many people how many people drown every day? How many people drown in the USA every day? I ask because of the 40 in France. Okay, let's see. Searching the web, it says the 40 deaths in France were shocking because they happened in a very short period during a heat wave. But in the United States, drowning is unfortunately a much more common everyday cause of death. Oh my goodness. 4,500 drowning deaths per year, which works out to 12 people every day. Well, good Lord. 12 people a day here in the U.S., 40 in one day in France. So they're like 3.5 days worth here. That's just so ridiculous. And why? Climate change. That I worry about climate change every day. I worry about climate change because I kind of wanted to move to Europe, but it is the number one place in the world that's heating up. Europe, London, Spain, Germany, all of it. It is the place that is heating up the most. I don't mean cities because we know Las Vegas is the number one in the country, but in the world, the UK, Wales, Great Britain, all of that, that is the number one place where climate change is heating. And it was 104 yesterday. It's going to be 104 today. And they dying from the heat. Only 11% have air conditioning. They dying. And these are climate-related deaths. 40 people were alive 2 days ago. They got hot yesterday. They went in the water and they drowned. 40 people. 40 families now missing family members. Why? Climate change. So when people think that climate change isn't already killing people, climate change killed 40 people yesterday. 40 in one day, climate change. It's real. It's here, and it's killing us. That I worry about. Donald Trump, not so much. Not so much. Although he is single-handedly destroying everything we love. The Rose Garden has been destroyed. The back oval lawn, circular lawn at the White House was destroyed by the WWE cage thing that he put up. The East Wing is still in rubble. The Kennedy Center, he refuses to remove the tarp from in front where his name was removed. The reflecting pool, he's ruining everything. The Oval Office has been ruined with his Temu fixtures on the wall. He is ruining everything. So that's why I just can't think about him every day. I just can't, He does not live rent-free in my head. When I get off of the show here, I don't think about him for the rest of the day. What do I think about? What project am I going to work on this afternoon? I think about, I look at Zillow every day. Every day I look at Zillow in various places to see, could I afford to live there? Is this someplace I could go? Every day. And then I worry, would I go alone? Is this a place I would move by myself? Would Ember have a good vet? Were there doctors there that I would like? Yeah, that's what I think about every day. And of course, money. There's not a day that I don't think about money. What about y'all? What do you guys think about every day outside of Donald Trump? What are your concerns? What are your worries? What are your happinesses? What are your joys? I think about those every day. Ways to have fun, ways to, try to have a good life. What do you think about every day other than Donald Trump? What do you think about? What do you worry about? What is your biggest, if I asked you right now, what is your biggest worry right now? What is the first thing that pops off the top of your head? What is your biggest concern right now? Right now, what is your, don't say that Democrats are going to lose the midterms, because that shouldn't be your biggest concern, because you're out of control of that. You can't control what's going to happen in the midterms. So you can vote and you can encourage others to vote, but you can't control it. So what is your biggest worry? Leave the comment down below or in the chat room at reallykarel.com. I'm sorry, at youtube.com/reallykarel, youtube.com/reallykarel. And to all of my patrons, I love and adore you. Thank you for being the 76 of you for being patrons. I'd love 100 patrons. If you'd like to join up, it's at patreon.com, patreon.com/reallykarel. We could use some new patrons. We haven't gotten one in a couple weeks. $5 a month, $10, whatever you can afford. The average patron right now pays $18 a month, according to ChatGPT, for me, for my Patreon. So what is your biggest worry right now? Is it retirement? Retirement income? What is your biggest worry? What do you wake up and as you're going through the day have a recurring worry about? What is it? I'm curious because the media, the news media, would have us believe that our biggest worry is the reflecting pool, Donald Trump, Iran war, and that's Doommaxxing. The media and social media in particular have us all believing that all day long our worries are the apocalypse, basically. The doom. It's called Doommaxxing. Everything's out of control. And it's all spinning in the wrong direction. Like AI. Everyone's like, AI is going to kill us. It's going to take our jobs. They said that about everything. They said that about the telephone. They said that about the television. They said that about radio. They said that about the internet. The internet's going to take all of our jobs. The internet, it's going to, blah, blah. And while it did do a lot of terrible things, mainly disconnect us, the thing that's supposed to connect us most has actually disconnected us the most. But none of the doom scenarios that everyone came up with for whatever it was have come true. Doommaxxing is not new. Every generation has their, this is going to destroy life as we know it, technology or movement or person. And guess what? They never do. Hitler didn't destroy the world. He tried, but he didn't. We got through it. Mussolini, Stalin, Donald Trump, we will get through, and there will be some semblance of a country afterwards. And maybe it'll be darker. Maybe it'll go even more to the right. Who knows? But he will be dead. He's 80. He's going quickly. If he, at an auction, he's already on the going twice. Going once has already happened. Going twice is where he's at. He's almost at the going 3 times and gone. So, but we will survive it. So what is your biggest worry? Because Meta and social media keeps creating doom and doom scenarios. And everything is life or death, and everything is, if you don't do this, we're all going to die sort of thing. That's what everything is. It's called Doommaxxing. AI is going to kill you. AI is going to take your job. AI is going to make you poverty stricken. That's all that's out there. There's no good stories about AI. It's all how it's going to harm you. Oh, we have no restrictions. Elon Musk is going to take over the world, and you're all going to be working for him one day, and just doom. That's all that's in the news. If you watch the news now, it's just doom after doom after doom after doom after doom. And that's because of how it affects your brain and how it keeps you engaged and how it keeps you coming back. The algorithm is not stupid. The algorithm knows the more it gives you the visions of the apocalypse, the more you're going to be hooked. But what is your real concerns? Your honest, in your heart concerns. What are you worried about today? According to some polls and stories, it's healthcare. The number one thing on most people's minds, the affordability and access of healthcare. As people are aging. So what is your biggest worry? Type it in the chat room or type it down below. What is your biggest worry? What do you worry about the most? I'd love to see. I'd love to read. I'd love to hear. So tell me something good.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
All right, so let's check what people are saying about what they fear, what their biggest dooms are. Let's see. Right now, from Rachel Mira, right now my biggest concern is my health and having a lot of checkups, and I pray everything is fine. See, healthcare. That is one of the number one concerns in America today. Let's see. That who is going to have the Constitution amended to stay in power permanently. He can't. See, they make you worry about that. We have been, he's going to get a third term. Donald Trump is not getting a third term. No one will say that to his face. The Constitution prohibits it. There will not be a constitutional amendment. It takes 2/3 of the states to ratify it, and they won't. They won't. And it takes years to ratify a constitutional amendment. Years. Mississippi just abolished slavery about 10 years ago on their books. They never sent the votes. So it takes years to amend the Constitution. They can't do it instantly. Congress has to write it, approve it, send it to the Senate, who has to approve it. Then 2/3 of the states have to ratify it. They're not gonna. And he'll die. Even if worst case scenario, he gets a third term. He'll die. He's not going to make it through his second term. He will die before he leaves office. He is too sick and too demented. So don't worry about that. When they bring it up, just laugh. Say, no, that's not going to happen. Because if it does, we have bigger problems than him getting a third term. If he is allowed to stay, then we've lost the country. The Constitution over the weekend had a birthday. I don't know why that isn't what we celebrate. Why we celebrate 1776 and the Declaration of Independence, I'll never know. It's the document in 1788 that gave us all the power, the Constitution. And over the weekend, it was the celebration of the ratifying of the Constitution. That should be a holiday. It's not, but it should be. And that document is not going to let him have a third term, and they're not going to amend it in time. So don't worry about that. Okay? As for healthcare, that's a worry. You should worry about that. Let's see. I listened to the news this morning a bit. Other than that, I concentrate on art, my garden, friends, family, and pets. Good for you. I watch BBC in the morning, and then that's it. Nothing for the rest of the day. I do read the Google News, news.google.com, which aggregates. Actually, Apple News. I use Apple News, and I choose the networks and the papers, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, this sort of stuff, and it gives me those stories. So Apple News is what I use. I also fear never having the money to get me and my cat into a house where I can live a little more on my terms. That's a big fear. Housing and the affordability of housing. In fact, Congress just passed a bipartisan bill yesterday to try to make housing more affordable. They're limiting the number of investors that can buy houses, single-family houses. They're loosening up restrictions on funding for manufactured homes. They're trying to do a bunch of things that make it easier for people to buy a house. Will it? I don't know. It's well-intentioned. I don't know that it'll do much. Let's see. I fear that Donald Trump will never be made to face consequences for his crimes. Why? I don't fear that. There's a lot of very rich white men who have never faced consequences for their crimes, and my life went on. Okay? There are so many people that have wronged gay people, killed gay people, fired gay people for being gay, prevented gay people from succeeding, said horrible things about gay people, and never had a comeuppance, ever. They got to live long. Strom Thurmond lived to be like 100 plus. He was a fucking Confederate, racist, neo-Nazi, fascist pig. He never got his comeuppance, ever. So yeah, if Donald Trump never gets punished, oh well. He is already being punished. Donald Trump has a miserable life. Listen to him talk. He's miserable. He should be having the time of his fucking life. Obama had the time of his life. He was the president, and he had fun. And he made it look easy. And no matter how stressed he got, he never conveyed that to the American people because he was a president. Donald Trump should be having the time of his life. He is grifting a nation. He is making billions of dollars for him and his family. He should be having a ball. Instead, he is miserable. And why is he miserable? Because he's a miserable person. He's miserable. And so that's my revenge on Donald Trump. He has nobody that loves him. None of his family care for him. No one's going to attend his funeral. No head of state. The rest of the world this morning condemned him. The rest of the world leaders this morning all came out and said he is not helping the world. We don't trust the United States as a partner anymore. Donald Trump is a problem. He's not well loved. He's not well respected. Most of America hates him. In a new poll, his approval rating is below 30%. So most of the country hates him. The only people that still build him up and boost his ego are these insane MAGA people. A lot of MAGA has left him now. Or they're just being quiet about it. They're not as rah-rah as they used to be. Oh, yeah. About 20 or 30% of MAGA is still all in for the president. And they're the ones we hear on social media, and they're the ones we see being interviewed. They don't speak for the country. The country does not like Donald Trump. Americans en masse do not like Donald Trump. Now, if you're MAGA and you're mad at me for saying that, I don't fucking care. It's a fact. It's backed up by research and by polling data. He is underwater in all but 3 states. 47 states disapprove of him. He's minus 21 in Florida. He's minus 17 in Texas. He's minus 60 in California, minus 44 in Washington. The man is completely underwater in approval ratings. He lives a terrible, miserable life. So I don't care what happens to him. I don't. Because no one loves him. And he's miserable. So, one day nature will put him out of his misery. He'll drop, and that's that. Let's see. What are some of the other concerns? We'll read through them during this quick break and come back and talk about Doommaxxing, how everyone seems to do it. Let's see. I'm worried about money. Yeah, everyone. It just seems money. I see the word money in here a lot. I'm worried about money. Money is my number one concern. If I had access to money, I'd have a show on Free Speech TV. I spoke to them, James Schnabel. I spoke to Free Speech TV. They want Life in Segments back. They want it back. Weekly 1-hour show. They want it. Yep. And if I had the money, I'd do it. Money. For the love of money.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
Michelle in the chat room at youtube.com/Really Karel says, my mom always tells me it's hard to change the Constitution. I only hope you're both right. We are. And by the way, if Democrats do win in the midterms, a Democratic House or Senate or both, then there's no third term, period. Because it would never pass Congress or the Senate. And everyone's all, well, he could declare martial law. No, there are elections during martial law. There's nothing he can do. It's fear. It's Doommaxxing. MAGA is great at Doommaxxing. They're great at it. And they love to do it to liberals. They love to trigger liberals with stuff that they know is never going to happen. Any Republican, Tucker Carlson yesterday announced he's left the Republican Party, that he can't take it. Tucker Carlson has left the Republican Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kristi Noem, they know the Titanic is sinking and they're jumping off. Okay? So that's Doommaxxing. He's never going to have a third term. He's not going to live through his second. Okay? So don't even sweat it. But what if an asteroid hits the planet? There is more of a chance. Because guess what? That's happened several times. An asteroid hitting planet Earth has happened several times. A president getting a third term in America never happened. So worry about things that could actually happen. Don't Doommax because MAGA wants you to. They love to trigger liberals into the worst case scenarios. I worry the Affordable Care Act will be eliminated and I won't be able to afford health care. Everybody worries about that. According to a recent poll, health care is the number one issue leading into the primaries or to the midterms. Health care. Number one issue. Number one. Health care. Because we're aging. There's a price of everything to worry about, too. I only get $25 a month in food stamps, and it takes $60 to fill a gas tank. Amen. MAGA is split on Iran, and the resolution of that divide is based on who is more loyal to Trump. Amen. I heard a Trump supporter today that, what's his name? Dean Withers, the young, cute, blonde kid that always takes on MAGA. I won't do that. All of these liberals now, these liberal podcasters and broadcasters are getting likes and views and making lots of money. Maybe I should do it. But they're sitting across from a MAGA person, and they're having some sort of debate. That's like trying to teach math to a pig. It frustrates the human and pisses off the pig. I would never do that because they're not going to listen. And when this woman said, Donald Trump never said he likes to see naked ladies at a pageant. And then Dean Withers played the tape of the Howard Stern show where Donald Trump said, I like to go in, their clothes are off. Played it. And you know what she said? Well, you know what? I like a real man that's attracted to women. I like men have testosterone, and you know what? I like that a real... So at first she said he didn't do it. Then once it was proved he did it, oh, well, it's okay because he's just a straight guy attracted to straight women. These were underage girls. And if her daughter were raped by Donald Trump, I bet she'd excuse it away. There are women that would offer up their daughters to be raped by Donald Trump. There are. They exist. And she, this woman I saw today, is one of them. So they're irredeemable. There's no point debating them. There's no point trying to teach them. There's no point. The word irredeemable means unable to be redeemed. MAGA is irredeemable. It's a cult. And unless they are deprogrammed, and it would take years, then we're just going to have to understand that there is this functioning cult and not listen to them and not let them elect people. I'm waiting for nature to free us of him. Yes, it's going to. Andy Hum needs a co-anchor. Well, he hasn't answered me, James. I've emailed him 3 times. However, I will say from Free Speech TV that they did offer life in segments. They said if you want to do an hour-long show that is less politics and more lifestyle, cooking, travel, entertainment, other kinds of issues that aren't directly related to Donald Trump, we'd love to have that show. I would love to stop doing this Monday through Thursday show and just do a weekly 1-hour life in segments for Free Speech TV and as a podcast. I would love that, I think. What's stopping me? About $3,000 an
If
episode.
you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Okay. Doommaxxing. Yes, that's and we're all caught up in it. Everybody does it. Doommaxxing. Because the algorithm serves it, because it serves the rich. The rich get rich off your fear. And so they make you afraid all the time. And they bring about issues that aren't issues. And then the real issues they cover up. They cover up. Climate change. What's happening in Europe right now, 104-degree heat, 40 people dead. All we should think about from this point forward is climate change. Here in Las Vegas, we should not build one more house that does not have reflective walls, concrete that absorbs the heat, and is water self-sufficient. Not one. Climate change should be the number one thing on everybody's mind. Climate change, period. It's killing people every day. It's not the number one thing. One of the reasons I don't want a car, they contribute to climate change. I mean, if I could get an affordable need, see, my mind goes back to my problems. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that during the show, but that's really where my mind goes. Like, I want a car that doesn't trash the environment, but doesn't cost a fortune. Well, you can't buy, even a Nissan Leaf is $20,000. I ain't got $20,000. If I got $20,000, that'd be 7 episodes of Life in Segments, which Free Speech TV said I could fund by tax-deductible donations. They said if you find a sponsor that wants to give to Free Speech TV like $10,000 or $5,000, we'll cut you a check back for production cost out of that. We'll keep a small amount, and we'll cut you a check back. So you can finance your show through people who want a tax write-off. I'm all, well, where do I find those people? Where do I find a rich gay vegan that wants to give, $50,000 for me to do Life in Segments? It's like, what tree does that grow on? So climate change. They're dying in Europe today. That should be on everyone's mind. I mean, yeah, they're talking about Keir Starmer resigning, their 6th prime minister in 7 years. And I wish we had that system where we could just make Trump go, but we don't. Because after the midterms, what's really going to happen to him? Unless he's impeached, So what are your fears? What are your fears? What are your biggest fears? I tried to put my worries about friends with severe health problems, but I was given a sad face and my text wouldn't show. I wonder why that is. Let's see. Vote female next time. I agree. Or for Pete Buttigieg. Vote for a gay guy. He'll get the job done. Because we haven't had enough change. We need a woman or we need a gay guy. We need some change on it. So, yesterday, I want to talk to you about the economics of things that you consume that you probably don't think about. I wanted to call this segment Stuff That You Don't Think About because I think about this stuff, but I'm quite sure you don't, okay? And yet, when I find it out, I'm so very intrigued by it. It sticks with me. So some things I found out yesterday stuck with me, and I wanted to share them with you because it really stuck with me. So I was feeling a little down yesterday. Actually, I was feeling like a failure. True story. I felt like a complete failure. I'm not a failure. I've made history. I'm a prominent gay figure. But I felt like a failure yesterday because I couldn't afford to bip down to LA to go to this thing and be on this panel. I thought, you don't even got $500 you could spend on this? I shouldn't have to spend it, by the way. They should pay their speakers. But you know what I mean. I was like, you really want to do it? That's something I really wanted to do. And I couldn't because of money. And now I find out about my car. I'd like to say just keep the frickin' car and go buy a convertible Jeep and call it a day because that's my dream car. I know they're not comfortable. I know all about it. I want a Jeep convertible. That's what I want. Or an electric, like a Kia Niro. A Kia Niro or a Jeep convertible. Those are my dream cars. That's what I want. I should be able to go buy a Jeep at this point in my life. I am 63 years old. I have the credit. I could go buy it, but it's making the payment that would be the problem. So those things that come into my mind. I felt like a failure. So I said, well, how much money? Because actually Randy Radar texted me and said, oh, you keep shouting at windmills like with your music and whatever, get your book out, get your book out, get your book out, your cookbook, because I'm a brilliant writer. So I said, okay, how much does music, publishing a cookbook, or being a podcaster pay in real life? How much does it pay in this new entertainment world in which we live? Now, maybe y'all have never questioned how much your podcasters make, the podcast that you listen to. Maybe you've never wondered how much the music artist that you listen to makes, because you probably listen to very big artists who make a ton of money. But that's not the music industry. There's the 5% of the music industry that are signed to labels and have big deals and are selling a bunch of records or having a lot of streams, the Madonna, the Taylor Swifts, even the middle of the road people that are still getting millions of views and millions of streams. That's about 5% of the music industry. The same with podcasters. Yes, there's Don Lemon and Adam Mockler and Brian Taylor Cohen. But, that's not me or Mark Thompson or whoever else. Yeah, Stephanie Miller probably makes around $1 million a year, maybe a little under. We know David Pakman does. So they're okay. They're doing okay. They're not rich. They're not Joe Rogan, who made $100 million last year. Stephanie Miller did not make what Joe Rogan made last year. David Pakman did not make what Joe Rogan. But how about the others out there? Okay? How about the others? Okay. So first, since Randy criticized me doing music, which I love my new song, and the label loves my new song, so they're going to remix it and promote it. That's great. So I said, what does the average independent artist, since only 5% of all music artists are signed to a major record label, Warner Brothers, Universal Music, all of that. 5%, that's it. 95% of the music you hear is not signed to a major record label. So, how much do the people not signed to a major make? And then I found out that even if you are signed to a major record label, you're not making what people think you're making. So this is what ChatGPT and Claude, because Claude is good at research, had to say. The frustrating answer is that there isn't a single reliable average because music income is incredibly skewed. A tiny number of artists earn a lot, while the overwhelming majority earn very little. That said, if you're asking what does the typical independent artist make from recordings, streaming, publishing, and royalties alone, without touring or merchandise, the best estimates can be found somewhere between $2,500 and $12,000 per year, with many artists making substantially less. One survey found the average indie musician earned about $5,700 a year, while the median was closer to $2,500. A more recent independent artist income report found indie artists averaging at about $11,500 a year. Spotify data shows that the 100,000th highest earning artist generate, okay, this is the top 100,000 artists on Spotify, okay? The top 100,000 artists earned about $7,300 a year in 2025. For a songwriter who owns both the master and publishing, 100,000 streams is $300 to $500. 1 million streams is $3,000 to $5,000. 10 million streams, $30,000 to $50,000. 100 million streams, $300,000 to $500,000. Do you have any idea how much 100 million record sales would have made you? Do you have any idea how much 100,000 plays on the radio would have made you? If you had gotten 100 million radio plays, you would have made tens of millions of dollars. Now you make under 500,000. Yep. Tens of thousands of streams are mostly promotional. Hundreds of thousands of streams might buy dinner. Millions of streams start to become meaningful income. Can you believe that? So a majority of artists in my position who are not on a major label make 11 grand a year. That's it. So then I asked about podcasters. I said, what about podcasters? And it knows how much I make from Patreon. I make $1,000 a month from Patreon. I'm very transparent about that. It says your $1,000 a month is certainly not at the bottom of Patreon. In fact, based on the data available, you're above the vast majority of independent podcasters. Most podcasters never make $1. Depending on the study, somewhere between 70 to 90% of podcasts either have no monetization at all or earn less than enough to cover the hosting cost. Never build a paying audience. Patreon is very top heavy. Many creators have fewer than 10 patrons, less than $100 a month in support, and no recurring revenue. At $1,000 a month from Patreon, you're earning about $12,000 a year from audience support alone. Patreon income benchmarks puts you in the top 20%. The only thing above you is a major independent creator, and they often make more than $10,000 a month. Now, given your stature in media, you should be a major independent creator, and I'm happy to explore with you ways to get you to that income. Thanks, ChatGPT. People like Don Lemon, who make millions a year, or Joe Rogan, who make millions of dollars a year, are rare to say the least. A majority of podcasters out there right now, about 70 to 90%, do not even make $1,000 per year. Wow. 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 So the people that you enjoy listening to aren't making a ton of money. They're just not. And so I worry about that when we were talking about what is your biggest worry. The industry that I'm in, entertainment, podcasting, songwriting, movie production, television production, all of it, everything I do, public speaking, live stage, all the revenues from that have gone down, down, down. And the only people making enough money to actually live are the superstars. Even large talent that's signed to a label can't tour because the expense is too high and they have to charge too much for tickets, so their audiences won't come. I looked at Kelly Clarkson tickets yesterday because Caesar said, oh, look, we're doing a $50 special. So I looked for $50 tickets for Kelly Clarkson here in Las Vegas. I couldn't find any. They said they're running this special. But to sit in the first area down front of Kelly Clarkson is $675 per ticket. Most people cannot afford that. If they buy that ticket, they can't afford it. They're putting it on the charge card or whatever. I looked at other acts that I might want to see. Same thing, $600, $700. Comedy clubs now charge $50 plus 2 drinks, so it's basically $100. Some comedy clubs charge 20 or 30, but they still have a 2-drink minimum. So it's still 70 to 80 bucks. If I do a show in the Bay Area, I'm going to have to charge $40 to $50 a ticket. And I don't want to, but that's how much I'm going to have to charge. And that's not going to rake in a ton of money for me. That's going to pay the venue and travel costs. So I worry about my career because monetizing it has become increasingly hard. And as ChatGPT told me yesterday, yes, it's maddening. Some people with hardly any skill or talent or experience start a podcast or start a social media account. They get millions of viewers or listeners and they're making a shit ton of money. There's no formula. We don't know why that happens. Meanwhile, someone with lots of experience and lots of talent doesn't make anything. Someone will record a song. The song will go viral. They'll make a shit ton of money off the song. Other people, established recording artists, release records, and you barely hear them. And they disappear. How many of you remember Texas Hold'em by Beyonce and all of the controversy about her doing a country song? Well, both her and the song are out of the, no one's talking about them right now. They come and they go. Madonna's got a huge album coming. It'll be gone. Madonna, she did an interview. The studio would not give her the budget that she needed for her biopic. So now they're not doing it. They're going to do it as a series at Netflix. Because Universal wouldn't give Madonna money for a movie. Universal, Madonna, they told her no.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Can you imagine Madonna not being able to finance her own biography? Madonna. They had the script, everything was ready to go, and Universal would not approve the budget. And she said, well, I've had a big life. It's expensive to film. She even said she'd film it in Serbia. She said that. I'll film it in Serbia. They didn't believe her. They said, you won't last 3 days in Serbia. She goes, it's work. Of course I will. They wouldn't finance her film. So she couldn't even take the script with her. The script that she wrote about her life, Universal kept. And now she's gone to Netflix, and they're making it a 6-part miniseries. That's the industry I'm in now, where Madonna can't even get the financing for her movie. I'm sure your industries, you're seeing the same thing. So what do you really worry about? That's what I really worry about. I don't worry about Donald Trump all day long. When this show's over in 7 minutes, I won't think about Donald Trump for the rest of the day, except please die, please die, please die, please die, please die. Please keel over dead. Please choke on a chicken wing or McDonald's McNugget. Oh, if he would only choke to death on a McNugget, it would be so just prophetic. Just do it. You know? But I don't think about the rest of it. And neither do you. So leave down below. Healthcare is obviously something you think about. That's a recurring theme. Money is something you obviously think about. And see, that does tie into politics. Donald Trump controls your bottom line. He starts an unjust war with Iran. Suddenly we're all going broke. I filled up my bike this morning, $12. You're like, well, I'd love that. Well, it's not normally $12 to fill it up. It's normally $7 or $8. But $12 to fill it up because gas was $5 a gallon. So yes, Donald Trump, and he affects healthcare. They want to get rid of Obamacare because the name Obama is on it. So yeah, he does affect your bottom line when it comes to money. He does. And he's fucked it up. He has totally ruined your bank account. Home prices, interest rates are directly tied to what Donald Trump does. And so he's affecting our housing. And then our debt. By the time he's done, we'll be 50 trillion in debt. Let me ask this to ChatGPT. Let's see. Let me see. Let's do a number that's shocking. So the United States is 50 trillion in debt, or will be. If we paid back $1 million a day of our national debt, how long would it take to pay it off? So if we were to, because it's like a credit card. So if we were to pay off $1 million a day towards our national debt, how long would it take to pay it off? Let's see. I'll use the current U.S. debt figure. So the current debt is $39 trillion. If we paid $1 million per day, oh my Christ. So we could pay $1 million a day on our national debt. How long do you think it would take to pay it off? How long? How long? The current national debt of $39.28 trillion. If we paid $1 million a day, if we accrued no more debt and just paid $1 million a day back, how long do you all think it would take? Come on, someone in the chat room, give me a number. Anybody? You're not going to believe this. 107,500 years. It would take at $1 million a day over 100,000 years to repay our national debt. At $10 million a day, it would take 10,700 years to pay back our national debt. If we gave, okay, so let's say every American gave $1 a day, okay, $1 a day. So that's $327 million a day. If we paid $327 million per day, how long? So if every American every day gave $1 towards the national debt, every American, old, young, babies, whatever, if we paid $327 million per day, it would still take 329 years to pay off the national debt. And that's with every American paying $1 a day. 329 years. Every American paying $10 a day, or $520, or what would that be? $10 a day would be 360 would be $3,650 a year. If every American paid $3,650 per year, it would still take 32 years to pay it off. At $1 a day, 329 years. And if we gave $1 million a day, every day, to the national debt, it would take over 100,000 years. And by the time he's done office, we're going to be $50 trillion in debt. That is a debt that is never payable. We will never pay that off. Ever. Ever. You saw how if we paid $327 million a day, it would still take 329 million years to pay it off. It's never going to happen. So we're screwed as a nation. We're always going to be in debt. Your children, your children's children. If a generation is 100 years, we're going to be in debt for 100,000 years, or basically, 10,000 generations. Humans are not going to last as long as our national debt. Humans will be off planet Earth and we'll still owe money to somebody. Oh my God. Put your comments down below. What is it you worry about? I am Karel. Be who you want to be, so I'll not hurt anybody. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Thursday, of course, and Friday. I believe we're going to have a This Gay Week. And so we'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, comment, like, subscribe, become a patron at Patreon. Do everything. It's right there for you. Just got to do it. Comment below. What do you think about every day? What is your biggest fear every day? I don't think it's anything. But what is it? I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear. I remember this dagger. Jesus Christ.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karelcast, driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go.